All this Volkswagen Challenge action is proudly brought to you by Comsol. The Comsol Volkswagen Challenge made its way to Phakisa Freeway as part of the Extreme Festival and the Phakisa 200. Class A, B and C made up of slightly different variations of Volkswagen products. Let's find out exactly what they're all about from Voldy Monkeys.
Class A is a proper 2-litre FSI 16-valve motor. We run the same spec cam as a Polo Cup. Difference is we got 4 throttles, so it gives it a more throaty sound and obviously some more power. Proper suspension at the end of the day, fully adjustable, 6-speed gearbox, so all for going fast at the end of the day.
Some insights on Class B from Paolo Piazzamusso.
VW Challenge Class B, basically we have a set of rules to put everyone on an equal platform. So what the association has decided is that we all run 1,050 kilos of Class B. That's your minimum weight. Like a horse jockey, anything more than that, your disadvantage. And then in terms of the engine, we try and keep the engine and the gearbox more as standard as possible, but with slight modifications. So we're allowed to fine-tune the compression ratio. We're allowed a cam change, which is a 288 cam on these cars, same for everybody. And then obviously some balancing and lightening of certain components. The tyres are all spec'd. They're Dunlop H1s, so we're all on the same shoes, the same rubber, which also makes the competition fairly fair.
Let's wake the Batman up and get him out the Batcave to tell us all about Class C.
The Class C cars, they run with a 2-litre motor. They've got a nice 288-degree cam to help the cars rev nicer. They use the standard 5-speed gearbox with the shortened VW racer set to get it a bit more snappy. And further, the cars all weigh 1,050 kilograms with driver in the car. And I guess one of the most interesting things of the Class C cars are the tyres that we are using. We're using a road tyre, a Bridgestone RE002 tyre. Lasts very well, very good product, keeps the racing close as well.
For more information on the Comsol Volkswagen Challenge, get to volkswagenchallenge.co.za or go and like them on Facebook. That's what these guys love to do, and they're about to go racing for race 1 here at the Phakisa 200 Extreme Festival. Qualifying, it was a tight and tricky affair as always, but at the front end of Class A, keep an eye out on Rory Atkinson, Voldy Monkeys, and possibly Devin Piazzamusso. James Hurley with lots of work to do coming from behind with an uncharacteristically bad qualifying, but keep an eye on him making his way through the field, in fact getting into turn 1 in the whole shot position. The starter pack car absolutely flying off the line and leads things out down to turn 2. As the Class Bs get off the line, a nice start from Karen Henning. He's going to go side by side with Darren Nathan down into turn 1. Brad Hall right on their tail, but it looks like Nick Clark has been bettered. The man who was on pole position loses out to Darren Nathan in the Sex Trader car as they're going to turn 1. Good start there. Oh, not such a good start from Pit Potgieter, who gets it sideways as our Class C field line up the start line. Down towards turn 1, Stuart Mack looks like he's got the best drop and might lead into turn 1. Yes, he does. Zander Roos going to go side by side with the Bat Lady, Elke van Vletter. Then it's Simon Levin on the outside. Look at the incredible Polo coming through on the inside there. A fantastic start from Sean Kraus. The X35 Energy Man has snuck into 3rd place. And a fantastic start from the incredible Polo. We go on board here with Devin Piazzamusso. He's sitting in about 4th or 5th place here in Class A's, telling the boys to watch the mirrors. Yeah, I think he's getting a little bit of revving from behind. It's not going to be an easy race for any of these guys, and I can tell you that it is everything they've got here at the Phakisa Freeway. That's exactly what's happening at the front end of this field. Class B's looking good too. Nick Clark has managed to sneak ahead and back into 2nd place, but he's got some work to do to catch Darren Nathan. Nathan leads onto the back straight out of Uncini 2. This is Brad Hall's point of view as they come on there. Few little adjustments from Hall. In fact, he's even adjusting the straps on his belt. That's a nice one to do there, Brad Hall. Hopefully you'll get that all sorted out for race number 2. But needless to say, 4th place at the moment, looking good as the steam train of Class B heads down into Geelkop. Hard braking coming from behind, and Clark closes right onto the tailpiece there of Nathan. Hall is under pressure as Dane Stewart starts to look for an opportunity to sneak through. Right on their tail, looks like that's Gossman. But further back here in the C's, Francois van Zyl hanging on for 2nd place, only just to keep out the incredible Polo of Kraus. Oh, look at Mack under braking, locking the wheels. He is feeling the pressure from behind. And you can see Levin also putting the pressure onto the Bat Lady. The Batman, Henny van Vletter, has not had a great start as we see the onboard shot here from the X35 Energy Polo. All over that brand new Polo of Francois van Zyl. Those two polos looking to close on Stuart Mack, and Mack just has everything sorted out for this circuit. Something's gone right there on his machinery, and he's certainly loving life at the front end of Class C. Speaking of front ends, this is Class A. And Hurley now under pressure from Meintjes. Valdi Meintjes looking to bounce. Oh, look at that side-by-side in the background. Fantastic action happening there as Brad Hall gets sideways. He tries to hang on to that fourth place, but is he going to be bettered by Devin Piazzamuso? The two of them were side-by-side, and Piazzamuso's through in the background. He's managed to find a way through as Valdi goes through, and Hurley has a problem. James Hurley has a massive problem coming out of the Coke bottle. He missed the gear. Looks like he might have got it all sorted out again. Piazzamuso now comes into his clutches, and once past. He's able to drive past. There's definitely a problem there on James Hurley's car. The starter pack car, unfortunately, has not put a wheel wrong until that point, and now something's gone wrong drastically. Class B, and it's all about Nathan, Clark, and Henning starting to pull a little bit of a gap now on Brad Hall. Gossman has got Stewart on his tail. A little bit further back there is Edling, and then Lindsay Kleur. The battle for Class B's rages right down to 15th overall on the circuit. But a magnificent battle nonetheless at the front end. In fact, pushing a little bit too hard. Woo! Sideways there from Henning. Just ran a little bit onto the dirt. You don't want to be doing that through Unchini 2. It's one of the most flat out corners on this track, and in a Polo, probably in 5th gear, absolutely everything she's got. Mack pulls a smaller gap and slowly but surely gets away from Francois van Zyl, Kraus, and Zander Roos. But in the background, you can see also battles right the way through there as Dale Robertson and Henry van Vleuten are getting at it. Nice drive here from Francois van Zyl, just keeping that new Polo of his right out and in front of Kraus. And in fact, the two of them slowly but surely reeling in Stuart Mack. I think Mack just might be under a bit of pressure there. The Goldwagen man is certainly going to start feeling it by the end of this race. They're even closing in on Potgieter, who of course we saw spin out in turn 1 where he heads to right now. The Batman has also made up a little bit of ground in the background. You can see Henry van Vleuten now moving up to about 7th pot. And there's Zander looking for a way through. Had a big look on the inside, but couldn't quite make it stick. Wasn't quite close enough to that X35 energy of Sean Kraus that we go on board with. This is coming out of turn 1, under the bridge, past the old control tower and heading down to turn 2. A nice start here from Kraus, but he has lost a little bit of ground now, and I think he's falling into the clutches ever so slightly of the man in 4th place. There you can see Zander Roos is all over him, looking for a way through. Oh, Francois van Zyl runs wide, makes a mistake all on his own sim, and you do not do that when you've got two young drivers right on your tail. They will capitalize, and both of them look like they'll get through. Coming down into the toe of the boot. Yes, indeed, Zander Roos hangs on and follows the incredible Polo through to take 3rd place away from Francois van Zyl. So in 2 corners, he's dropped 2 positions down to 4th. The Bat Lady is still under pressure from Levin as they come in there. Simon Levin having a magic ride and certainly looking for an opportunity to maybe get in touch with these 3 and have a go for a podium position in Class C. If they keep going the way they're going, there's a possibility of that. Side-by-side action at the front end of A, though. As you can see, Rory Atkinson fending off the challenges from the Marty's auto body man there, Valdi Meintjes. Problems in the background, though. Oh, that's a big, big miss up there. And looks like there might have been some oil dropped on that corner. We'll have to keep an eye on that as the rest of the field make their way down to the final turn. These guys are nowhere near it just yet and are starting to come onto the back end of Class C. Class A led up by Atkinson, and Meintjes is all over his tail. Here's Brad Hall heading into that area that we thought was a concern. Yes, there is a concern. There are a couple of cars making their way a little bit too sideways for my liking. Henning was one of them. Looks like Nick Clark also got involved there. And now Henning managed to sneak through and actually get ahead. I don't know how he managed to do that. Brad Hall wasn't really affected by the oil. He must have found a line that the oil wasn't on and managed to go through the final turn without having to take evasive action and ending up on the grass. Nice drive from Edling. He also has done the same thing there. And on his tail is the second of those Polo Classics, so keep an eye out whether or not he can stay ahead. The leaders are heading that way shortly. And there's a good possibility that well, there'll definitely be oil flags waving. It don't matter whether these guys are going to be able to hang on for dear life or find a line that we've just seen that certain drivers are able to do through that turn where the oil has been dropped. Tooling Promotions and SA platform car there of Devin Piazzamuso, now sitting in 3rd place overall. So what a change up here at the front end. Not normally a top 3 contender, but whatever they've done on that car has definitely been sorted out and is now becoming a threat. Speaking of a threat, this oil is causing chaos. Look at that. Every single one of the Class C leaders has gone off. Here come the Class A boys. Can they manage to hang on to the inside line and not get affected right? Whoa! Atkinson's out of shape ever so slightly, but manages just to hang on. How he caught that, I have no idea. Brilliant bit of driving there from Rory Atkinson. Look in the background as almost every single car is now going wide. Not quite sure why the clock of the course didn't quite call this, but fortunately not affecting Darren Nathan. Nathan will come through for Class B's victory. Second place behind him is Gerard Henning. He also managed to hang on and this time got through the oil with no problems. Brad Hall comes through for third place. A brilliant bit of driving there from both the Piazza Musso Motorsport machines. Stuart Mack is still hanging on for a possibility of a victory in Class C. Francois Phakisa is closing up and is getting extremely close. This is the second place battle, remember, because Mack did lose out when he ran wide. Zander Roos has now capitalized and got to the front end of the battle. You can see him just in the background here as we pick up on Mile Stewart onto the back straight now and into Gielkop. This is where things are getting a little bit real. And Mile will just be hanging on. There's Zander coming to the line now. Can he hang on and keep out Stuart Mack? He's not going as quickly as what he'd like and what I'd like him to be going, that is for sure. You can see Mack is closing on him rapidly, hand over fist. But with only one corner to go, I think it's just a matter of time and he's just going to take it home safely and take the Class C honours. So there it is, Class C to Zander Roos winning out over Stuart Mack and Francois Phakisa, with Sean Kraus and Philip Cruiser making up the top 5. In Class A, it was all about Rory Atkinson, who won out over Voldy Mikey's, Devin Piazza Musso, Ian Stevenson there in 4th place, beating out Gavin Ross, Louis Robertson, and a DNF for James Hurley. Class B was Darren Nathan, Gerard Henning, and Brad Hall, the top 3, with Nick Clark, Dane Stewart, Andy Gossman, Edling, and Kleur. As we saw in Class C, it was Zander Roos from Stuart Mack and Francois Phakisa, Kraus and Cruiser, then Elke van Vletter, Dion Kraus, and Graham Savage. We managed to catch up with Rory Atkinson to see how race 1 went.
Yeah, it was a hard fight with Voldy. Something happened to James, unfortunately. But we just had a good car, a good dice, and we're really looking forward to race 2.
A nice clean race for Class B's winner, Darren Nathan.
Interesting race. In the beginning I was watching mirrors a little bit. I managed to get to the front at the start. Chris Clark and I had a good go for about 2 laps, and then ran out of talent, collected it, and I managed to get a gap on him, maintained the gap for the rest of the race, for race 1, and I managed to bring home a victory.
If it wasn't for the oil, this man probably would have got first place. Let's talk to second place, Stuart Mack.
Race went alright. I got a brilliant start from pole position, which I lucked into. I made a gap off the start, but the guys just after 3 or 4 laps, guys started pulling me in, and the gap got smaller and smaller and smaller. Eventually, Zander passed me for the lead, and I held on to second, luckily. And that's basically the race in a nutshell.
So heading into race number 2 now, consolidation of points is what the top guys and girls will be looking to do as we get into race 2 of this Extreme Festival and the Comsol Volkswagen Challenge. As they come out onto the grid, a couple of little adjustments would have been made. I'm sure we're going to see a little bit of a different battle at the front end of each of these categories. On board with Voldy Mikey's as we head down towards turn number 1. On his tail is going to be pushing hard. Ian Stevenson alongside him will be Rory Atkinson. But look out for Hurley. They've got that car sorted out and unfortunately not able to capitalize like he did in race number 1 and get the whole shot from where he started. But he has moved up into 4th place, just behind Ian Stevenson. Nice start off the line there from Nick Clark. Brad Hall follows him. Henning's going to try and go with the 2 of them, and Darren Nathan is going to try and block everybody down into turn number 1, but he has not been able to get around the inside or around the outside of both those cars who are now on his outside. Look at that! Brad Hall, what an amazing start there from him in the Piazza Musso machine. Problems for the Batman. Philip Cruiser goes alongside him. He got stalled ever so slightly in the big Golf. That Golf 2, yeah, not happy about it, Phil. I would have said the same thing. He just got caught napping. As they go down, you can see Kraus on the outside, but leading into turn 1 for C's is Van Zyl. He gets the whole shot. On his tail is Zander and Stuart Mack side by side. Zander Roos hanging on and looks like he might have just snuck into second place. Back to Class B's. Nick Clark having a good one. Oh, Brad Hall had a phenomenal start, but got it all wrong now coming out of turn number 3. And you can see, I think that was Stuart who had to take some evasive action just to miss out on those 2 cars. But it's Clark who leads things at the moment with Nathan on his tail and Henning. So that battle resumes. It's kind of what we expected there. In Class C, looks like the battle's going to resume all the way through this little pack, as you've got a great start up front there. Zander Roos, Stuart Mack and Francois Van Zyl, but keep an eye out on Dion Kraus, Van Vletter. Oh, problem zone for Class A. Ian Stevenson got it out of shape, and the Comsol man has parked it in the kitty litter. That's not the first time somebody's done that, and it's probably definitely not going to be the last. As you go through there, you cannot lift in a front-wheel drive car, and unfortunately that's exactly what Ian did. Let's find out from him what went wrong.
Notorious Phakisa sweep. It's one of the fastest corners in our racing series. Came into the corner and the car in front of me braked. I just moved off the line slightly and it was just too much and lost it completely. And I just stuck around for the ride. And lucky I didn't put it on its roof, but survived. Yeah, you remember these wipe-offs. That's it. Yeah.
I think Gausman will be remembering a couple as well. He went off in a very similar position to what you did. And as I said, you wouldn't be the last to do that. There's certainly going to be a lot more people that get it wrong through the double right off that back straight. It's a difficult corner to get right, especially in a front-wheel drive car. But needless to say, you managed to play on for the next round. Let's get back to the front end of Class B's. Clark from Nathan from Henning. Henning is probably the most dangerous man at the moment, looking for an opportunity to sneak through at any point in time. Brad Hall has made up some ground now that he ran wide and is back into the thick of it. As we come into the front end of Class A, Valdi Mikes is having to fend off a massive resurgence here from the starter pack man, and James Hurley is all over the back of him, looking for a way through, but Valdi Mikes can make a Polo extremely wide, probably about as wide as a Tuareg or a big Amarok if necessary, and he's making it very wide there for James Hurley as they go through and into Unchini 1 and 2. But further back there, nice to see the fight out between Wayne Krause in the brand new X35 energy drink Class A machine. Hasn't really got to grips with it just yet, but is certainly getting the development done on that car. Class B battles continue for first, second and third, and for 4 and 5. As we've got Stewart fighting with Hall there. A nice little effort there from Eli Stewart. A massive improvement from the Grand Mark International man. And got to see some more of that heading into the end of the season. We're into the halfway stage of the season now as we get to the halfway stage of the year, and things are certainly looking great for a potential awesome finish to this championship. Andre Callett's still battling a little bit with his new car as well. As soon as he gets it up to speed, remember he was in a Golf 1 for a while, he's now into that AC Honed Group Polo, and I think also some development and maybe a little bit of tinkering that has to still happen on that car. But once he gets it all sorted out, we know he can run at the front end of Class B, and he's not too far off that just yet. You can see just in the background here, bits and pieces of Class C as Mac is trying to find a way past on Zander. And in the meantime, Francois Van Zyl is opening up a nice margin and getting away. So I'm not quite sure whether or not things are going to change up here, but they are getting very, very tight. Oh, Levin up the inside of the Bat Lady, trying to find a way through and unable to make it stick. Remember that little bit of an improvement coming out of Henry this time. Henry van Vletter just up ahead of his missus and doing a super job to try and stay with that incredible Polo. And just behind that one, of course, is Graham Savage. So nice battle here for Class C. Very, very close as well. The first 6 cars only split by about a second. So I think we're in for an epic battle here to the checkered flag. Let's see whether or not everybody can stick together and keep it clean. A little bit further up the road into Class B's, and it's Nathan all over Clark looking for a way through. Has he found it? No, he hasn't. But he's got a better line out of the toe of the boot. He might be able to squeeze around the outside of Coke Bottle. They're heading into the Coke Bottle turn now, but Clark sees him and goes, oh, extremely defensive. Runs Nathan ever so slightly wide, but the young man certainly knows his way around a Polo. He spent a couple of seasons in the National Championship and then has been involved in the Midas Historic Tour for a bit with his dad. Battle continues behind with Stewart. Oh, look at how they're getting a bit sideways here. Into the Class C battle. And here they go. It's 5 cars and each of them has an opportunity of stealing the victory. Stuart Mack wants one and wants to try and make up for the oil in turn number 8 on the last race. But unfortunately, he is in the thick of it and can't find his way past on Van Zyl. Zander hangs on for now. Oh, look at how Van Zyl closes into Unchini 1. Right onto the bumper, becomes a diamond trailer on the back end of that Polo. And the Batman is looking dangerous. He is about to pounce, and once passed on that incredible Polo of grass. Just behind them, here comes the Bat Lady with Simon Levin. Oh, what an incredible battle those guys are having, and those girls. It's great to see. It continues at the front end as well with Valdi Mikes. Mikes now has lost some ground and is trying to close in on Atkinson, but Atkinson is sitting pretty right now. If everything goes according to plan here, he has got this one in the bag for the Comsol team. Out of the toe of the boot. Mikey's closing in, but on his tail is the starter pack car of James Hurley. Hurley hasn't had a great day. He really had a problem in race number 1 with a little bit of a DNF there. Piazza Musa has had a phenomenal day. Much improvement there from the Tooling Promotions and SA platform car. And of course, driving his heart out for Mom, who's at home. And we wish her all the very best for some more recovery out of that big C. Look at how these guys and girls are getting at it. This is fantastic. As I mentioned earlier, Millie Stewart, just one of the best drives we've seen out of him for a long, long time. Side-by-side action here as Mack is under attack. And Krause goes on his inside. Stuart Mack trying to keep him out. Side-by-side and onto a little bit of a dirty stuff. Here comes Van Vletter. Oh, Kraus van Vletter and Mac. Who's going to come out of the toe of the boot in the lead of this race? Something's going to... Oh, yes, I thought so. Something was going to go wrong. I kind of expected that. And unfortunately, Kraus loses out. Normally, the Incredible Polo versus the Batman, the Hulk would win. But this time, Batman wins and carries on. Fortunately, losing out massive ground there was Kraus, but I'm sure that Sean will be back shortly. Coming into the closing stages now, and you can see blue flags are starting to wave as the Class A contenders start to catch the Class C boys and girls. And this is where things can get a little bit rattled and hopefully play into the clutches of the starter pack car that we're looking that far back from. Valdi Mikey's looking to sneak up and find a way past on Rory Atkinson, who's got his lights ablaze just to warm the back end of the field that he's coming. Savage knows he's coming, and Savage and Mac on that car because they shared the car. Oh! Atkinson's got a problem! Atkinson has slowed up dramatically. Can you believe that? Valdi Mikey's takes the lead as Rory Atkinson pulls to the sideline on a very similar place to where we lost James Hurley last time. This time, Hurley capitalizes and goes to second. Now, can he sneak through and find a way past and maybe take the win? Devin Piazza Musso, he hasn't quite got round there and seen that there's a problem on Atkinson's car, but he will very, very shortly. Darren Nathan, this time he squeezes Clark, and Clark turns in. Oh, man, the two of them coming together and eventually getting everything sorted out. But I think a bit of a racing incident between the two of them. Darren had the inside line. I don't think Clark realized he was there. Clark's not going to give it up that easily. He comes straight back at him and gives him some more. Wow, can you believe this? This is brilliant stuff. Wing mirror to wing mirror action coming out of Class B. That's what we love about Volkswagen Challenge. Giving it everything you can and more. Back to Class A, and Hurley closes in on Valdi Mikey's. The checkered flag is beckoning. It's only one more corner. Can James Hurley sneak through and steal the victory? Or is Valdi Mikey's going to be able to hang on? It looks like he is. No oil this time, no problems for Valdi Mikey's. The checkered flag is out. Oh, and Hurley runs wide. In a bit of sympathy, I think, for that victory. He pushed hard, unfortunately lost out right at the end. Nick Clark, well, we saw the epic battle between the two of them, and Darren Nathan eventually has to settle for second place. That shouldn't give him an overall victory in Class B, though. Zander Roos pretty much wasn't troubled after the incident behind him between the Incredible Polo and the Batman. Stuart Mack will come through for second place. Brilliant racing, as always, in the Comsol Challenge. Mikey's from Hurley, Atkinson, Piazza Musso, Kraus, Ross, and Stevenson are your Class A winners. Class B, it was all about Nick Clark and Darren Nathan. Fantastic action between the two of them. Henning had to settle for third with Brad Hall and Andre Needham. And in Class C, it was all about Zander Roos, who managed to get away from Stuart Mack, Francois van Zyl, Dion Kraus, Elke van Vletter, Philip Cruiser, Sean Kraus, and the Batman Henry van Vletter. Great drives out of both Zander Roos and Nick Clark see them on equal points at the top of the championship standing, with Henning in third and Atkinson in fourth. Look out for Mikey's, Kraus, and Hall to try and close them down at the next round. We caught up with Valdi Mikey's after race 2.
It's been a while since I've been at the top of the podium. It was a tough race today. To be fair, it was Rory's race. Unfortunately, on the last lap there was some back markers and he got caught up in it and he couldn't find a gear, so I slipped past, you know. So I'll take the win. I'm glad I'm standing at the top of the pile or the heap at this moment, and it was great. It was great racing with Oaks. It was clean, fun the whole day, and enjoyed it.
Race 2 winner, Nick Clark in the Class Bs with that epic battle with Nathan.
We're racking them up, eh? Good second race. First race, not so much luck. Fourth position, but yeah, we had a bit of a whoopsie in the flat-out right-hander. But anyway, yeah, good season so far.
Consistency and another first place in C sees Zander Roos, joint leader of the championship.
Well, the start, lost one position again, started from pole. Took about 4 laps, getting there, getting closer, and then finally overtook him. Then I had the opportunity to break away, to not get caught again, and then, yeah.
All this Volkswagen Challenge action was proudly brought to you by Comsol.